What makes a piece of paper worth a cup of coffee? Or a digital code worth a car? Money is one of humanity's strangest inventions. We all use it, but few truly understand how it works. For thousands of years, humans have argued, fought, and innovated over what counts as valuable. Today, you're about to discover the hidden mechanics behind every dollar, coin, and Bitcoin in existence. By the end of this video, you'll see money in a completely different light. Let's start at the very beginning, when money didn't even exist. We're going on a time-traveling adventure through the evolution of money. First, we'll explore the barter system and why it failed. Then, we'll see how coins and precious metals took over. Next, we'll uncover what fiat currency means and why your money isn't backed by gold anymore. After that, we'll dive into inflation, why prices keep rising, and how governments control the money supply. Finally, we'll reveal the forces shaping our economy today and what might come next. Buckle up, because this journey spans thousands of years and explains the world you live in right now. Ready? Let's go back to a time before money existed. Imagine you're a wheat farmer in ancient times, and you need shoes. You find a shoemaker, but he doesn't want wheat, he wants fish. Now you have to find a fisherman who wants wheat, trade for fish, then trade the fish for shoes. Exhausting, right? This is the barter system, and it had a massive flaw: the double coincidence of wants. Both people had to want exactly what the other had at the exact same time. Trade was slow, inefficient, and frustrating. Communities needed something everyone valued, something portable and divisible. That's when the first forms of money appeared, and they weren't what you'd expect. The first money wasn't metal. It was shells, salt, cattle, and even giant stones. Societies chose objects that were rare, durable, and widely desired. Cowrie shells became currency across Africa and Asia for over 4,000 years. The word salary comes from salt, because Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in it. But these early currencies had limits. Shells could break, cattle could die, and stones were impossible to carry. Around 600 BCE, the Kingdom of Lydia created something revolutionary: the first standardized metal coins. These coins had consistent weight and purity, making trade simple and trustworthy. Suddenly, commerce exploded across the ancient world. But why did metal become the money of choice? Gold and silver became the ultimate money for 5 key reasons. First, they're rare enough to be valuable, but common enough to circulate. Second, they don't rust or decay. A gold coin from 2,000 years ago still shines today. Third, they're divisible. You can melt and reshape them without losing value. Fourth, they're portable. A small pouch of gold could represent enormous wealth. Fifth, they're universally recognized as beautiful and desirable across all cultures. For over 2 millennia, gold and silver dominated global trade. Empires rose and fell, but precious metal coins remained trusted. Governments stamped their authority on these coins, guaranteeing weight and purity. This trust became the foundation of modern economics. But a huge transformation was coming that would change everything. Carrying heavy coins was dangerous and inconvenient, especially for merchants traveling long distances. In 7th century China, a brilliant solution emerged: paper money. These were essentially receipts. You'd deposit gold with a trusted institution and receive a paper note promising you could reclaim it later. The paper itself was worthless, but it represented real value stored elsewhere. This required something money had never needed before: institutional trust. You had to believe the issuer would honor the paper. When this system worked, it was magical: lightweight, portable wealth. By the 1200s, even Marco Polo was amazed by China's paper currency. Europe adopted the idea centuries later, but this trust-based system introduced a new danger. What if institutions printed more paper than they had gold? That question leads us to the gold standard. For much of modern history, most currencies operated on the gold standard. Every dollar, pound, or franc could be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold. Governments promised to back their paper money with actual gold reserves stored in vaults. This created stability and limited how much money could be printed. If a country printed too much currency without enough gold, people could demand gold and drain the reserves, collapsing the system. The gold standard dominated international trade through the 1800s and early 1900s. It provided predictability, but also rigidity. Governments couldn't easily respond to economic crises by adjusting the money supply. After World War II, the Bretton Woods system tried to maintain gold backing, but it became unsustainable. In 1971, President Nixon made a shocking announcement that changed money forever. In 1971, the United States completely abandoned the gold standard, and the world followed. Welcome to the age of fiat currency, money that has value simply because the government declares it does. The word fiat is Latin for "let it be done." Your dollar isn't backed by gold, silver, or any physical commodity. It's backed by trust in the government and the economy it represents. This seems crazy. How can paper with no intrinsic value be worth anything? The answer? Collective belief and legal enforcement. Governments require taxes to be paid in their currency, creating automatic demand. As long as everyone accepts it, it works. Fiat currency gave governments unprecedented control over the money supply, allowing them to respond to recessions and crises. But this power came with a serious risk called inflation. Myth 1. Money has intrinsic value. Truth. Money only has value because we collectively agree it does. Even gold's value is largely psychological. Myth 2. The government can print unlimited money without consequences. Truth. Printing too much money causes inflation, reducing everyone's purchasing power. Myth 3. Inflation is always bad. Truth. Moderate inflation around 2% is actually healthy. It encourages spending and investing rather than hoarding cash. Myth 4. Cryptocurrencies will replace all government money. Truth. While digital currencies are growing, most economists think governments will maintain control over mainstream currency through central bank digital currencies. Understanding these truths helps you make smarter financial decisions. But how exactly does inflation happen? And why do prices keep rising? Here's inflation in simple terms. Too much money chasing too few goods. Imagine an island with 100 people, 100 coconuts, and $100. Each coconut costs $1. Now the government prints 100 more dollars, but doesn't create more coconuts. Suddenly, there's $200 competing for the same 100 coconuts. Prices double to $2 per coconut. Your dollar buys half as much. This is inflation. In reality, it's more complex. Inflation involves supply chains, production costs, wages, expectations, and global trade. Central banks like the Federal Reserve try to maintain stable, moderate inflation by controlling how much money circulates. They do this through interest rates and other tools. When inflation gets out of control, like in Zimbabwe or Venezuela, money becomes nearly worthless. So what causes these dramatic economic collapses? Every price you see is determined by supply and demand dancing together. When demand for something rises but supply stays the same, prices increase. When supply floods the market but demand drops, prices fall. This applies to everything: houses, concert tickets, even the value of money itself. If a country's economy is strong and productive, demand for its currency rises, making it more valuable internationally. If confidence drops, the currency weakens. Interest rates are tools central banks use to heat up or cool down the economy. Low rates make borrowing cheap, encouraging spending and growth, but risking inflation. High rates make borrowing expensive, slowing the economy but controlling inflation. Understanding these principles explains why your rent increases, why gas prices fluctuate, and why your savings account earns interest. But where is money headed next? Money is evolving faster than ever. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin introduced decentralized digital scarcity, limited supply controlled by code, not governments. While volatile and controversial, they've forced traditional finance to innovate. Central banks worldwide are now developing their own digital currencies, combining the convenience of crypto with government backing. China's digital yuan is already being tested. Mobile payment systems like Venmo, Cash App, and Apple Pay are making physical cash nearly obsolete for many people. Some economists envision a cashless society within decades. Others worry about privacy, surveillance, and what happens when technology fails. One thing is certain: money will keep changing because human needs and technology keep evolving. The money you use in 2050 might look nothing like today's. So what should you remember from all this? Let's recap this incredible journey. Money evolved from barter to shells to coins to paper to digital code. The gold standard gave way to fiat currency, giving governments control over money supply. Inflation happens when too much money chases too few goods, and central banks manage this through interest rates. Supply and demand determine all prices, including the value of money itself. The future promises even more digital innovation, from cryptocurrencies to central bank digital currencies. Understanding how money works gives you power. Power to make better financial decisions, understand news headlines, and see through economic myths. Money isn't magic. It's a tool built on trust and agreement. Now that you know how it works, you'll never look at a dollar bill the same way again. Want more mind-expanding content? Subscribe to Easy Learning and hit the bell icon.